When you start publishing online, should you create a podcast at the same time as creating your YouTube channel? No. I'm going to tell you exactly why. Stay till the end, and I'll also explain why the audio sounds a little weird. Hey there, everybody. My name is Ben Moot, and I have been publishing a podcast and a YouTube simultaneously. I've been taking a YouTube video that I record, stripping out the audio, and putting it on a podcast. I'm going to go over all the stats with you, how I got my first 1,000 subscribers, my first 9,000 downloads, show you what's working, and tell you what will work in the future and how I've discovered it. If you enjoy this as we're going through, do me two favors. Number one, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Let the world know that this is valuable content. And then number two, if you could please share this with a friend. If you know someone who is starting a podcast or a YouTube channel and they have kind of the same type of question, please share this. I wish I had known this when I got started. You're going to enjoy. Okay, so here's the deal. I have been rearranging my entire office in order to get it just right for podcasting, for YouTubing, for everything I'm trying to do, for client calls, all of that. And in doing so, I lost my mic. So it's going to sound a little bit weird, but that's fine if you guys can bear with me, because we will never anymore record the podcast at the same time as recording episode for YouTube. We do not do them simultaneously, and there's a reason why. But in order to explain that, we have to dive into the numbers. I started my podcast and my YouTube channel simultaneously in 2019. While the YouTube channel now has over 1,000 subscriptions, which is amazing, I have 24,000 views on my channel, which is wonderful. I love that. But when you pivot and you look at the podcast has a little over 9,000 downloads. That is a very big difference, which means I'm missing the ball somewhere on the podcast. It's not getting the attention that it requires. I bet you didn't even know I had a podcast. But really what I want to show you is this. This is a graph of my growth, both on my podcast and YouTube. YouTube is in orange, the podcast is in blue. So if you'll notice, at the beginning, for the first couple months, they had the same growth. And right when I started to get momentum with both, at the end of 2019, suddenly there's a divergence. Suddenly, both fell down, but one skyrocketed. YouTube suddenly started taking off. I started creating content that worked on YouTube. Apparently, it didn't feel that way. I felt like I was still stuck. If any of you have tried to get your first 100 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, you'll know exactly how this feels on YouTube. This took a while to do. You'll see YouTube just took off. Meanwhile, my podcast just kind of stayed the same. Why did that happen? Well, here's the deal. When you start to record a YouTube video, there is a whole different world here. You're doing different camera lenses. You are doing different zoom methods. You are doing pop-ups. You are doing all sorts of things that are quote-unquote required because it's a visual element. The minute that I focused on presenting better content on YouTube, you can see exactly what happened on the podcast. Nothing. It didn't grow. We kept getting people watching. They might be new people, but we were losing old people. This was not content that worked for both. And there's a reason why. Now, this is one of those I heard from a friend that kind of story, but I promise it makes sense. Stay with me. There's a large software that I use. If any of you know what it is, comment it down below. If you know what software I'm talking about, comment down below. This large software has a large YouTube channel. The person managing this YouTube channel turned to a colleague of mine who's doing a training. He's doing a 3-day training right now called the Content Machine. If you know who that is, comment that down below. The person managing the channel says, do you know why your podcast is not doing as well as YouTube? I said, no, I really want to know. The reason is your podcast is like country road. People want to listen easy. They are doing something. They need something easy going, easy to listen to. Sure, it can be super powerful. It can provide a lot of information, but it's a little bit easier. That's country road. They want to have a personal relationship with you. YouTube is infotainment, and he said you need to treat your YouTube channel like Times Square. Flashy, gets your attention, keeps your attention, entertains, and provides information all at once. That involves a whole lot more. That involves a good thumbnail, that involves good content, written strategically down piece by piece. There's a whole slew of how you need to do this step by step that's different for YouTube than it is for a podcast. And so we are officially splitting. That way we can help both channels grow in a way that works best for the audiences on both channels. So this episode is not going up on the podcast. Nope. We are recording something a little bit more country road. And if you want to hear the difference, because it will be the same type of content, if you want to hear the difference, go check out the podcast. It's the first link in the description. And let me show you what I've learned that my audience wants to listen to. And by the way, if you disagree with me or you are like, Ben, I want to hear a certain thing, comment down below. Tell me what that is. I promise I will respond to you and I'll work it in. So the podcast actually is being pushed to a whole bunch of streaming services. I use a system called Libsyn, Libsyn, and it pushes my podcast out to a whole bunch of places. iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, all of those places, okay? So I went to Apple Podcasts and I downloaded the stats from there. And as you can see, what I did is I took the number of viewers, the people who had actually viewed this particular podcast, and multiplied it by the amount of time somebody spent on it, multiplied by the duration of it. So I could see how many watch hours or minutes were spent on this video. And I organized it according to that. So according to that organization, people liked listening to the following. Number one, interviews. They loved the interviews that I did. A lot, like in YouTube, that's not a big deal. You'll see what's big on YouTube in a moment. But that didn't work very well on YouTube. It works really well on the podcast. So interviews were number one. They got a lot of good listen hours. Number two, hacking. People enjoyed when I went and did a funnel hack. They went and I showed how the funnel works step by step. They enjoyed that. Strangely enough, only for a couple of these. So I imagine the minute that I went into, let me walk through the funnel, they might have gone over to YouTube because these are also one of the top YouTube videos that I have performing right now as well. Third category was long strategy videos. I'm not talking about one of those videos where I'm like, yeah, this is kind of how it works. No, the longest one was 52 minutes and it did extremely well. They like long strategy sessions on the podcast. That's not true with YouTube. That's the order of the content that they like to watch on the podcast. So you can guess how I'm pivoting. My content on the podcast will not be the same as the content on the YouTube channel. But what will be on the YouTube channel, you ask? I gotcha. Let's go. Watch time is king. So I only organize this by duration. And according to duration, these are the top topics. Number one, they love unboxings. They love reviews. Everyone loved it when I unboxed the Secrets trilogy, plus that fourth book that Russell gives away. They loved it. And apparently it worked really well. So you can guess what's coming to the YouTube channel a little bit more. If you have products you want to hear about, comment that down below. I'm happy to help. Tell me what products you want reviewed. But number two, funnel hacks. You guys, oh my gosh, you really enjoy funnel hacks. I was like, whew, you guys keep eating those up. So you can guess what's coming. More, we're going to get some more of those, especially around the time of Funnel Hacking Live. But because everybody loves a certain couple people that we've talked about in the past, we might be funnel hacking them here in the future as well. So stay tuned for some funnel hacks coming soon. Interviews still did well here. They weren't great, but the interviews only worked if it was somebody whose name is already big. People that have people searching for them. So if people are searching on the internet for them, they are ranked on there. You have people saying, is this a scam? Is this legit? Then it works. And last but not least, shockingly enough, if you disagree with this, please let me know and say, yes, I want this. What are you going to say? Yes, I want insights. Comment down below. Let me know if you want insights. I love doing videos on why internet marketing works, why market research works, why Facebook ads, YouTube ads, funnel pages, different types of funnels. So the strategies behind good copy. I love talking about that. I'll talk about it every single day and I'll give you my opinion unabashedly. However, apparently that doesn't rank as well as everything that we've talked about before. I don't get enough as many views on that. So if you like insights and you want them, you tell me down below. Otherwise, I'm going to rank all these other ones higher. You tell me what you want, my friends. That's how this works. I hope you found this to be a value add. If you did, please like the video for the YouTube algorithm. Consider subscribing. But more importantly, share this with somebody who you think needs this. Is there anybody you know that is trying to figure out YouTube, who's been trying to create a podcast? Maybe do both. Heaven forbid they're stuck the way I have been stuck. Please feel free to share this and let me know what I can do to help you in the comments below.